Yep, that's another one on the list, because if he can be of assistance to you, maybe he is valuable. That's all. It's perfect. So one of the things, so we've got a couple of things I'm going to show you in a minute, clearly. Principles. Find out what they're interested in. Find out what they think they're good at. Get them, watch them being competent. We've identified these already. Get them to use their competencies to help you. In other words, make them have a reason to think they're valuable. Because in their home life, they've got lots of reasons to think they're not valuable. They think. Now, sometimes it's just not true, but that's what they think. Okay, so when you went through some of this stuff, you would have come up with all sorts of stuff, I assume, as to what schools do. And there's plenty more. And that's why, by the way, they are so much more difficult after a break, because in a break, it's not you who's interacting with them, it's the other kids. And they do all this stuff as well. Good reason. They certainly focus on their behaviour. They don't have a theory, so they just assume the kid's evil, and they don't want to have anything to do with the kid, basically, or they're scared of them, but they'll try and avoid them, and the kid notices this. That's why who said they had the kid come in and stay with them? Yeah, that's why for these kids it's essential that they have that opportunity to be in a safe environment. That's normally away from other kids and with teachers, an understanding teacher, where they can do something useful. Now, if they're in there covering books, or in there stacking, or in there folding envelopes, or in there doing something that would be of assistance to someone, and they knew that, that would be brilliant. That could be their punishment, even if you had to have a punishment as well. Now, it's not going to stop there, of course, because you can have the same sorts of things going on in the home. And you could probably add a few more to that, couldn't you? Things go on in the home that you can't control. The good news is, it doesn't matter what goes on in the home. Because once you think you're hateable and one person doesn't see it that way, your whole theory's gone. So how can I think I'm hateable if this teacher says and acts as if she likes me and values me? But they will write about you in the age. You know, when they interviewed this person, when they're successful, whatever it is, they'll remember you as that teacher who thought of them as being valuable and helpful. Vice versa also, and one I like to quote here is Robbie Burns, the singer, yeah? Ronnie Burns. In Scotland? Robbie Burns in Scotland.
Yeah, Robbie Burns.
He has an unlisted title on one of his CDs, which is a direct attack on his teacher, saying how this teacher said he was hopeless, he would never amount to anything, and all this sort of stuff. And then he says, look at me now, and I bet you're still in that shitty schoolhouse torturing children, and all this sort of stuff. Now, why would he bother? The guy's famous, right? He's got all the money he can possibly use. They're never happy, by the way, most of these people, but they're because they are driven. Well, he is driven to get even. He's in here. He's just trying to get even with this guy, even now. So he's not a well person, or he wouldn't have written the song. Or he would have listed it as a song, I guess. Yep. Okay, we're making them resilient to the point where when they get that rejection, they'll be able to cope with it. Because the assumption is, with A, Bs and Cs who are resilient already, if we give them experience of what they are going to get out there, they'll be better prepared. In this case, that's an argument you can't support. In other words, if I want you to have a stronger self-concept to withstand that in later life, the only way I can do it is not to attack your self-concept now, but to build it up now as much as, but not in the way that the empty self-concept, it's got to be based on something. You can't just sort of say what a lovely person this person is. It's not going to work. And so all that empty self-concept stuff's got to disappear, and it's got to be based on what that person can contribute. But what you've got to do is acknowledge that they do have some interests and skills and use those to contribute. So your argument technically is true of many things, that practice makes perfect, but in this case, practice at withstanding damage to your self-concept does not really make perfect at all. You're better off having a very strong self-concept so that when it is under attack, you are going to be able to withstand that attack much more successfully. It's an interesting sort of dilemma. It doesn't quite fit the standard thing we're used to. And yes, they will get it out there because they still won't be perfect. And they won't have understanding teachers around them either. They'll have bosses who will just get rid of them if they're not able to put two and two together. By the way, that's the way. That's one of the reasons I'll say they need to know why they do these things. There are people in this room who lose their keys, right? Why? Why do you choose to do that? And you don't have a choice, do you? Because you don't know why. And if I told you, maybe you'd stop. Which is exactly what happened to me. I used to lose my keys. Never lose them now. Because... No, because at one... Yeah, I do. I lose the car. You're right. Now, see, no one attacked me on that. But with the keys, my wife was smart enough to say to me, I wonder why you choose to lose your keys. And she made me think. No one's ever worried about losing the car because it's only my problem. Probably I'm trying to hurt myself at some level because it does hurt me, losing the car. It gets me anxious over time. But losing the keys, it was upsetting her because what it was one of these. When I lost my keys and we were about to leave and had only the one car really, everyone had to help me find them. I could control all of the children, there were 6 of them, and a wife, which is impossible normally. So I could control a wife and 6 children because I could even tell them where to look. It was an out-and-out power play. And the minute I thought about that, I thought, no, I don't want to do that anymore. That's a mistake. I don't need power at that level. So I hung up a hook. I've lived in 3 houses since that happened. I hung up a hook and I go straight on the hook, or they go in a flap of the bag. I know exactly where my keys are. And that's how this theory is meant to work. Once the kid understands the motivation, if I said to a person, it's very nice of you to show, like, I tried this with my son. I was saying it didn't work very well because I'm sarcastic. It's a bad habit. Because I'm not so good with my own kids. They hook me. But if I were to say, I say to my last born, you know, it's so nice of you to, you know, leave your towel on the floor and the fan on and the lights on and 3 pairs of socks from 3 consecutive evenings that you've sat in the study, because it gives me such an opportunity to show how much I love you. Because that's his motivation. His motivation is to be assisted, to be helped. That's what last-borns tend to like. They want someone to sort of clean up a bit from them. They leave a trail. And at one stage I got sarcastic and called him Trail Boy, which didn't go down well. But theoretically, you know, once you address him, if I could say to him, oh, you know, you're doing it again, but it's a bit late now because we've got this thing going, which is a bit of a joke. You know, it's humorous between the two of us, so he won't play. But if I could take a person and say, you know, when you do this, and this, and this, and this, and this, I think you're just trying to be noticed. And then I'll say, and you can do that. The trouble is that it irritates some of the people. And they're going to find it harder to like you. Now, what do you really want? Do you want to be liked or do you want to be noticed? This is going to be an important question. I've given these in your notes. Do you want to be liked or do you want to be noticed? Do you want to be boss? Do I want to control all of those people in my family, or would I rather they liked me? Do I want to be boss or would I rather be liked? Do I want to get even with the world or would I rather be liked? Do I want to hurt people to get even or would I rather they liked me? At the moment they're scared of me. Would I rather they liked me or would I rather they were scared of me? Because the assumption of all of this theory is everybody wants to be liked. They want to belong. They don't want to be a threat or an irritant or whatever. They'd rather be liked. So that once that question is put to them, there is only one answer theoretically. And then you'll say in class when they do it again, there you go, that's what we're talking about. Right now you're making it hard for people to like you. You won't say those words, you'll have some sort of